Okay. Hi all, welcome to PR classes. So today we'll be seeing a workshop on standard cost. I just wanted to have a workshop on standard costing because whenever I meet my students, right, many people are telling that the standard costing topic is very difficult and we ignore the standard topic. So what I tell is because my method of teaching the standard costing will be a graphical method. So my students will be knowing that. So what I wanted to do is to, in order the standard costing graphical method to reach the wider audience, I'm conducting this workshop. So the purpose of this workshop is to give a flavor of standard costing graphical method for all the variances. So we'll be covering material variances, labor variances. In overhead, we'll be covering the variable overhead, fixed overhead, then sales variance, profit variance. So in this workshop, we'll be covering all the 6 variances and as I said, right, in this graphical method, you don't need to remember any formulas. So you have to just remember the graph, which I teach. From the graph, we can able to extract the formulas. Okay. So that is the purpose of this workshop. And let me quickly share my screen and we'll go start with the standard costing chapter one by one. So I have shared my screen. Okay. Now let's start with the standard costing. The first one, let me open the Excel sheets. Standard costing. By this topic, right, the standard costing, it's a decision-making topic. By this topic, we are going to make decisions and we are going to compare the standards with actuals. So the comparison is between standard and actual. There is no comparison between A and B. For example, if there are two students, one student took 40 marks or one student took 50 marks, another student took 90 marks. The A took 50 marks, just an example. A took 50 marks and B took 90 marks. You are not going to compare A versus B. You are not going to compare student A and student B. Okay. Similarly, just apply this logic to material A and material B, or labor A or labor B. You are not comparing one material with other material, or one labor with other labor, or one type of nature of expenses with other type of nature of expense. What you are going to compare is one nature, this actuals, with its own standard. You know the logic, right? Don't compare yourself to others, compare yourself with your own standard, right? That's the what you're going to follow. You can see if you compare A and B, you will actually tell B is the very good performing student. But actually, if you see, A is actually 50, but A's standard is 40. A is usually used to get 40, but he gets 50. So A is favorable. And if you see B is like he used to get 95, but he got 90. So now he is adverse. 5 adverse. In standard costing, we don't put minus or plus, we just put it plus means favorable, minus means adverse. So the ultimate the purpose of this topic is, someone joined. Ultimate purpose of this topic is to compare your own performance or this material performance or this labor performance with its own standard. And we are going to see whether it is favorable or adverse. So in standard costing, we'll have, like I said, right, we have 6 variances. Just to summarize those 6, I'll just have this. So first point which you want to know is the standards are always compared. The actuals are compared with its own standard, and we are going to make decision. And second thing what you want to know is the profit. What the main purpose of this company is to earn profit. So the profit depends on sales and cost. Sales and cost. This is just have an overview on what all topics you are going to study in standard costing. So the profit depends on sales and cost. Similarly, the cost can be further classified into material, labor, overhead. Okay. Similarly, overheads can be further classified into variable and fixed. So put like a table. So the profit depends on sales and cost. Cost depends on the cost can further be classified as to material. By material, we mean direct material, direct labor, and anything other than direct material and direct expenses is known as overheads, direct labor. Okay. So here we are going to see material cost variances, labor cost variances, variable overhead variances, fixed overhead variances, sales variances, profit variances. Okay, the profit variances is also called as sales margin variances. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in this workshop, we are going to cover all the 6 topics. Okay. Before going to the variance, we want to know the difference between standard and budget. Standard and budget. Because people used to confuse the word between standard and budget. Your budget number is not your standard number. Okay. Budget is different, standard is different. For example, we have like 900 quantity or 9,000 quantity. Okay, for the value is 90,000. I'll just put quantity value. This is my budget. Then if you see actual turns out to be 10,000 quantity. The value is 1 lakh. Now you are comparing the value of 90,000 and 1 lakh. If you compare budget and actual, just pay close attention to it. You are comparing 90,000 and 1 lakh, and you are telling that your actual cost is like 10,000 rupees more something. But your standard is something which is always with respect to actual output. You don't compare this number with this number in standard costing. You are going to compare standard number and actual number. So what I tell, there's a difference between budget and actual number. Budget is based on 9,000 quantity for 90,000 value, but actual is based on 10,000 quantity. So I can't compare in standard costing. I can't tell this 9,000 and 10,000. I'm not going to compare. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take 10,000 quantity and the same I'm going to get it. What is the budget? So if I take a budget price, it is 10 rupees. And I'm going to compare it here. If here the price is same, if I want, I will just change the price as 9,500. Something like this. Okay. So what I'm going to compare the standard quantity is always with respect to actual output. This word important. The standard quantity, someone joined. The standard quantity is always with respect to actual output. So now there is a like-to-like comparison. I'm comparing 10,000 material quantity and comparing with 10,000 actuals. So there is an apple-to-apple comparison. So I can't compare 9,000 and 10,000. So what I do, I can take the standard quantity with respect to actual output. And this standard value is taken from the budgeted value. And I do a comparison. Just have this understanding. Furthermore, we can discuss. When material cost variance, I'll discuss in detail. Now let's go to the first variance, material cost variances. Material cost variances. So let me go with the graph first one. Just let me put the graph. Left one. You don't understand this, right? Any questions in this standard and actuals? If no question, I'll proceed further. Okay. Now let me put the graph for material cost variances. We'll see material cost variance for the first variance. Just pay close attention to this material cost variance graph because the same concept of how this graph is derived, we are going to follow for material, labor, and other topics and all. Okay, the graph remains the same except slight tweaking, and you have differences in fixed overhead variance. Other than most of the graph remains the same. So now what you are going to do, I have the x-axis and the y-axis. So what you do, just put the price in y-axis and the quantity in x-axis. Price in x-axis, sorry, price in y-axis. Standard price and actual price. So just remember price in y-axis, quantity in x-axis. Don't change the graph. This graph is only to extract the formulas. So just keep the graph as it is. KQ. Okay. So what I did, I just put a graph. I put the price in y-axis, quantity in x-axis. So the thing you should remember in graph is price should be in y-axis, quantity should be in x-axis. Don't exchange and put, then the formula will be extracted wrongly. And similarly, first standard should be there, second actual should be there. First standard should be there, second actual should be there. Even if actual is low and standard is high, then also we should maintain the graph as same. The formula will take care of itself actually. Okay. So just remember these two things when you frame the graph. Price in y-axis, quantity in x-axis. First is standard, second is actuals. Just if you remember these two, you can extract the graph. Then what you do, join SP and SQ. Join SP and SQ. Similarly, join SP and AQ. Similarly, join SP and AQ. Okay. And finally, join AP and AQ. This is the graph which I want to do. AP and AQ. So what I did, I just put a graph. Just join SP, SQ, SPAQ, and APAQ. Don't join AP and SQ. Always AP will be joined to the last one, AQ. Okay. Now we have two boxes. One box and two boxes. This box where you see the difference between standard price and the actual price, it is called the price. This is the price variance. This is the price variance. And this box between the standard quantity and the actual quantity is the usage. Now let me go by the example. So material cost depends on two factors. So the price, their increase or decrease in the raw material price or raw material consumption in the factory, in the raw workflow depends on two factors. One is the price and second is on the usage. Simply, I can't tell the material cost increase is only due to the purchase price. There may be a possibility that material cost increase is due to the poor efficiency in the working shop floor, that is in the factory. So when the material cost is high, you have the two factors. Simply, I can't tell. So for example, when the material cost is like say expected 1 lakh, I put 10,000 here. So the actual cost is 12,000. So there is 2,000 increase in the material cost. This 2,000 can come due to the increase in price or due to poor efficiency in the shop floor. Instead of consuming less material, I consumed more material. So because of that also the material cost may increase, right? So we can able to identify by the rise of material cost, we can able to find, or by the reduction in material cost, we can able to find which place the metal cost impact has resulted, which cost that, whether it is price or whether it is the usage. Price means which department is in charge for this, purchase department is in charge. Usage means which department is in charge, production department is in charge. So instead of plainly having a some number telling that material cost has increased or decreased, now we have the information that material cost is increased due to the price variance, of which because of A material so much, B material so much. So you can see how much the granularity of the data you have. So you have so much kind of data with you, you can be able to get the right decisions. That's it, like simply if you have like the material cost increase, where you will go and attack. Now we know material cost is increased due to the price variance, of which we have 5 materials and it got mainly caused by material B and C. Now you will attack, your focus will be on material B and C. Instead, if you don't have this data, you'll be like, you'll be having a big ocean between in front of you. We don't know what to do. So standard costing gives you the such granularity of the data and information to you so that it will make you to take precise decisions. Okay. So rightly said, right? So now material cost depends on two factors, price and usage. Now this is the graph which I'm going to put. So first one, I'll repeat again. The y-axis is price, just put standard first, actual second. X-axis is quantity, just put standard the same as standard first, quantity actual second. Now this box is between the standard price and actual price. So this box is the price impact. And this is the quantity, the usage. Now this is the standard quantity, how much quantity you use, and actually how much quantity you used. So this is the usage. And if you sum up price and usage, you get the total material cost variance. So what material cost variance depends on? Two factors. Similar, I'll just put the graph here. Material price variance and material usage variance. Okay. So material cost variance depends on material price variance and material usage variance. Now just pay closely attention that how I am deriving the formulas. So from this graph, as I said, right, this graph is just a tool to extract the formulas. And in I repeat again, and in exam, don't use this graph. Don't put this graph as a separate work kind of working and all, because some characters may be confused by this graph and all. Why some people are showing graph and standard costing. So this graph, just if you want some, if you have some clarity, if you want some clarity, just put the graph in some pencil and just erase it off. Don't show this graph in exam. This graph I said is only to extract the formulas. Now let's see how we extract the formulas here. Now first one, let's see the usage. I'll just see the usage box. So I said this box is the usage box. So now what is the formula for usage? How are we going to extract? So this is SP into SQ. Just remember this box. So SP into SQ minus SP into AQ. Minus SP into AQ. So now this is the usage. So how we are going to SP into SQ minus, so SP into SQ minus SP into AQ. SP into SQ minus SP into AQ. So now you get the usage formula. That's it. So this is the usage formula. So you don't need to remember the formula and all. Just put this graph and how do you extract SP into SQ minus SP into AQ. Second formula, we will go to price variance, this box. So this box ends here. So the formula is SP into AQ minus AP into AQ. Okay, SP into AQ minus AP into AQ. AQ minus AP into AQ. Understood? SP into AQ minus AP into AQ. Now, what I said for cost variance, it is the sum of these two boxes. If you put the sum, you will get the answer, but the correct way to solve is by using the formula. So what is the formula? If you put these two boxes together, SP into SQ minus AP into AQ. The formula is SP into SQ minus AP into AQ. SP into SQ minus AP into AQ. So you'll get these two. To verify it, if you just put the sum of metal cost and metal price units, you'll get the metal cost variance. You can have it as a sense check. Any doubts in this graph? Because once you understand this basic graph, then only it will be, you can understand the other graph, labor cost variance, overheads, sales and all. This is the base. For every graph, I'm just going to follow the same approach. If you want usage, this is the usage box, SP into SQ minus SP into AQ. If you want to find the price, this is the box, SP into AQ minus AP into AQ. Don't change the format. First is standard, next is actuals. First is standard, second is actual. Price in y-axis and quantity in x-axis. Okay. Any doubts in this? If any doubt, just come on, unmute yourself and ask your doubt. Okay. Okay. Now let's go by the terminologies. Go by what is SQ, what is AQ, SP, and AP. We'll go one by one. First, SQ. If you remember this example, I said standard quantity is always with respect to actual output. Standard quantity is always with respect to actual output. So just write it here. Whenever you have the word SQ, whenever you have the word SQ, you just write standard quantity for actual output. So don't just tell standard quantity. Whenever you tell the word standard quantity, just have the word in your mind and just write it also. Standard quantity is always for actual output. You can see a standard quantity is always for actual output. Now I will compare this standard with this actuals. I won't compare 95 with 1 lakh. I compare 1,05,000 with 10,000. So what I did, I compare 1,10,000. There's 10,000 is the actual. So I took the same quantity. I just put the color here. And this number of I rate based on the budget rate I rate. So I took one rate. So what is the value per unit is 10.5. This 10.5 I did not multiply 9,000. I multiplied with 10,000 to arrive at 1,05,556. Okay. Now these two I compare. I don't compare these two. So I compare it. So this is the actual comparison which you are going to do. So whenever there is a standard quantity is given, you have to change that standard quantity to actual output. This is the only big one thing working which you have to do, major working on. In standard material cost variance, once you crack the SQ, the sum is nearly completed. Because other than that, most of SP, AP, AQ will be directly given in the question, or it will be like basic division. That's it. Only SQ you have to calculate it. If you find able to crack SQ, it is easy. Material cost variance is nearly completed, and you can get full marks. So whenever you tell SQ, you just put standard quantity for actual output. The SQ calculations also is not so tough. You just want to do pro rata and rate based on the actual output. Or you have other formula. Another formula what you have for this is or actual output into input by output. We have two formulas. So whenever there's a percentage, 10% loss, 20% loss is given, just you can follow this formula, actual output. What is the output units they are given? Input and output. If the loss is given as 10%, so what it means? Input is 100%, last 10%, so output is 10%, so 90%. So 100 by 90. So we will do sums on this workshop. So we will do sums in this method. I want sum, and we also do the sum in to find SQ based on the formula. Okay. And next is what? AQ. AQ is nothing but actual quantity consumed. These are not purchased quantity, these are all consumption quantity. Okay. Then what is SP? Standard price. AP, actual price. Okay. Now let's solve first one sum. Okay. Before I move to mixed variances and all, let's solve one problem. And this graph is only we will apply only when there's a single material. Only when we have single material. What is meant by single? When we have single material, what I mean? In company, only when we have one raw material, you will be applying this graph. When there are two or more raw materials, there is a concept of mixed variance that we will see second graph. Okay. Now, if you have material cost variance for single material, once there is a single material, this is the graph. And for multiple material, the same graph, just you are going to add another one line. That's all. Now, let me complete one sum before moving to the second part. Okay, first sum. Okay. Can you able to see my PDF screen, right? Anyone just come unmute and tell?
Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Visible, sir.
So the first sum on standard costing material variance. From the following particulars furnished out material variances, value of material purchased. So the value of material purchased is rupees 9,000. Quantity of material purchased is 3,000. And standard quantity calculation diagram said standard quantity for materials required per ton of finished product is 25 units. So what they mean? For one per ton means 1 ton. So for 1 ton you require 25 units. Now let's see what is the actual output. Next, standard rate is rupees 2 per unit. Opening stock is nil. Closing stock is 500 units. Finished production during the period is 80 tons. Let's start with the working. I will just I'll take screenshot of this question. And I'll put it here. Okay. Then for your easy remembrance, I'll just put this graph here. This is the first sum. I just put a graph here. So by how can you derive the computation table and the formulas from this graph? We'll just have it here itself. Now the first part is to put the table for the standard costing. So how you are going to derive the table? Put the table. Just go by step. SP into SQ. Just put it here. What I do first, I will complete the standard price thing. SP into SQ. Second is SP into AQ. SP into AQ. First, what I did, SP into SQ, SP into AQ, and as I said, AP should be always joined with the last one, AP into AQ. AP into AQ. So now we have only one material. So next what we are going to do, we are going to fill this table. So what all data is available in the question, we are going to take it and fill it. As I said, SQ calculations only we have to do, and other calculation will be like basic calculations only. So let's see, other than that, SP, AP and all, mostly they will be given directly in the question, or simple calculation you have to do and take it. Let's see, what is SP? You can see here, standard rate of material is rupees 2 per unit. So it is 2. Next 2 into, so 2 into. Then what is my AP? So the value of metal purchased is 9,000. Quantity of metal purchased is 3,000. Okay, notes. AP. So the total value is 9,000. We are going here. You have to put actual price per unit. So here we have total price or the value of metal purchase is 9,000. Total units is 3,000. So the value per unit is 9,000 divided by 3,000. 9,000 divided by 3,000. That is nothing but 3 rupees per unit. So AP is 3 x. Now what is my AQ? And now you have to fill AQ and SQ. SQ calculation will keep it at last. AQ, what is my actual quantity consumed? Just see, my quantity of metal purchased is 3,000. As I said, this AQ is not the purchase quantity. It is my consumption quantity. We are following the consumption kind of accounting, right? So the purchase we are not going to take. We'll take the consumption. So what is my consumption formula? Opening stock plus purchases minus closing stock. Opening stock, these are plus purchases minus closing stock. Opening stock is nil, 0. What is my purchases? 3,000. Closing stock is 500. So the overall my AQ is 2,500. So put it here, 2,500, 2,500. If closing stock is not given, means what we will take? We'll take the purchase quantity itself, we'll take it as consumed quantity. Here the closing stock is given, so I subtracted it to get the consumption value. Then the last one, SQ. Whenever you put SQ, just write it again, standard quantity for actual output. Even in exam, just keep on writing this standard quantity for actual output. Standard quantity for actual output. Okay. So now what does adjustment they are given? Standard quantity per ton is how much? Standard quantity per ton is 25 units. So for 1 ton of finished goods, you require 25 units of raw material input. So that it means. Now what is my output? 80 tons. So what it means, for 1 ton, you require 25 units. For the 85 tons, how much you require? So simple calculation. So this 25 units is required for how many tons? It's required for 1 ton. So it's per ton. It's required for 1 ton. So how much you require for 80 tons? So this is the calculation. So 25 units is for 1 ton per ton. So for 85, how much you require? That's nothing but 25 into 80. So you require 2,000 units. So SQ is 2,000. Understood? Now just close this table. So 2 into 2,000, 4,000. This is 5,000. 3 into 2,500 is 7,500. Any questions in this? I'll just pause for a minute. Any questions? Just unmute yourself and ask the question. Just feel free to unmute yourself and ask the question, okay? Okay. Now let's see the variances. First variance, material cost variance. Material cost variances. Everyone can able to chat, right? If possible, just put the formula in the chat box. I'll see. What is the material cost variance formula? Just put it from this graph. Since it's the first formula which I am asking, let me go slowly. Try to put it in the chat. I guess everyone can able to chat. Correct point is AP into AQ. Yes, I just typo. Sorry. SP into AQ, AP into AQ. Okay, thanks. So Jennifer, you said SP into SQ, AP into AQ, SP into SQ, AP into correct. So the formula is SP into SQ minus AP into AQ. So we have the data SP into SQ is 4000 minus AP into AQ is 7500. 7500. If I just put it in, what you will answer, you will get 3500. Negative. I should not put negative here. Okay. If it is negative, I'll put adverse. Now let's go by material price variance. So what is material price variance formula? Material price variance formula. Just try material price variance. Here is the table for you. I give a like 30 seconds. I give. Price variance. Just try this box. So what is the formula then? SP into AQ minus AP into AQ. Correct. SP into AQ minus AP into AQ. Now just take the value from the table. SP into AQ 5000 minus AP into AQ is 7500. So what will come? 2500 adverse. Now let's go to material usage variance. Material usage variance. What is the formula for material usage variance? Let's type it. See this box. SP into SQ minus SP into AQ. Correct. Okay, correct. So SP into SQ, SP into SQ minus SP into AQ minus SP into AQ. So now just take the value from this table. SP into SQ is 4000 minus SP into AQ is 5000. That's 1000 adverse. Okay, that's all. The sum is completed. See how easy this is sum. You don't need to remember any formula. Just remember this small graph: price, quantity, standard first, actual second. Then you can just derive this formula from this graph. As I said, I will repeat again. This graph, no need to put it in exam. This graph just for your technique or trick to remember the formula, to extract the formula. If you have doubts in the formulas, just put this graph in a pencil and just erase it off. Don't put this graph as a part of working notes and all. Okay. And now the sum is completed. Now let's see how we will read these results. So what you are coming to tell? So my overall cost, which I expected the metal cost should be, is 4000 rupees. But the metal cost ended up as 7500, leading to 2500 adverse. So my expected metal cost was 4000 based on the standard, but actually 7500. So I ended in 3500 adverse, of which due to price, negative price impact is 2500 and usage is 1000. So the adverse impact is caused by both purchase department and usage production department. So both led to negative cost variance. Okay. So this is how you should read the results. Now let's go to the second part. So this is the single material. Now let's go with two or more material. That's multiple material. Two or more material. Okay. The same graph only are going to follow. When there is two or more material, there is a possibility of mix. Okay. What is meant by mix? So if you have like two materials A and B, you have to consume A 60%, B 40%. This is the consumption which is standardly expected, but you end up consuming 50-50. Because of this, there will be change in some price, increase or decrease in price. Or sorry, in cost, I can tell the word cost, because price means you will be confused with this price. Because of this mix impact, there will be change in the cost. Standard actual mix. So you have to come when you have to prepare a finished product, you have to have a mix like 60% of A you have to use, and for B 40% you have to use, but you end up in using A 50 and B 50%. Because of change in mix, there will be some changes in the cost. To identify this is called as mix variance. This should not be treated as efficiency. This increase or decrease in cost is only purely because of the change in mix. There is no efficiency in the process. So only we are going to separate this as a mix variances. Let's put it here. Now let's see the graph. As I said, same graph. Only we are going to include another one line. This usage will be separated into two. I'll just put it as virtual merge. This line should come fully pass. Since I'm using Excel, I can't able to put line here and merge this cell. So this line should come fully, okay? From here also this line should come, just understand it. So now usage is just separated into two. One is yield and another one is mix. So this line is called as RSQ, this midpoint. This RSQ. Okay, so this is the graph. So the usage I just separate into yield. The yield is the actual efficiency, actual yield which is done by the production department, and mix is due to the change in the mix, which I said, right? The standard and the actual composition mix, AB, the mix percentages only. Now let's see the formula. So the same kind of thing only. The graph is repeating. The table is also the same table only. There is no change in the table. I just copy it and paste it here. So cost variance is SP into SQ minus AP into AQ, overall cost variance. Price variance is SP into AQ minus AP into AQ. There is no change in the price variance box also. Usage variance, SP into SQ minus SP into AQ. There is no change in the formula. So the usage variance is further split into yield variance and mix variance. So when there is multiple material, so only you have to understand this. So material, yield variance, material mix variance. So yield variance is this box. So the formula is SP into SQ minus SP into RSQ. What is RSQ? I just I'll tell in sometime. SP into RSQ. Now what is mix variance? SP into this box. RSQ minus SP into AQ. SP into RSQ minus SP into AQ, get the mix. So if I sum yield and mix, you'll get usage variance. If I sum usage and price, you'll get cost variance. Okay. So there's another name for yield variance. It's also called as sub-usage variance. It's also called as sub-usage variance. When 2 marks, they will ask, if they ask what is calculated sub-usage, you should not tell, sorry, you not thought it. Sub-usage is nothing but yield variance. Okay. Now let's see the what newly we saw. We saw SQ, we saw same definition. AQ, we saw SP, we saw AP also. We saw everything we saw in the previous table. So the definition. Now the newly thing is formed as RSQ. RSQ. It is called as revised standard quantity. Revised standard quantity. The definition for is it total AQ in SQ ratio. Total AQ in SQ ratio. So RSQ formula, the expansion is revised standard quantity. It is total AQ and SQ ratio. Just some students will get confused. The name is called as RSQ. They will put total SQ in AQ ratio or something. Don't get confused. The name is called as RSQ. In also, it is a AQ only in SQ ratio. But don't change the name as to RAQ. The name is called as it is a standard format. So the name you use to follow is as RSQ. It's nothing but total AQ. You are going to sum the total AQ and we will apply the in same standard mix. So what you are going to do? So AQ in standard mix and AQ in actual mix. So this delta in mix we are showing it as mix variance. So RSQ is total AQ in SQ ratio. Just remember this. Now we will go to any doubts in this graph? In two or more materials and multiple materials. Any doubt in this graph? No doubts. I'll go to the next sum, which are two. I'll copy the question. Okay. For a easy understanding, I'll just put the graph also here. The first part, I'll read the question. The standard cost of a chemical mixture is as follows. So you have two materials, A and B. So if it is two materials, it is, you have to follow which graph? Second graph. There is a possibility of mix variance. So whenever in the question, if you see in this previous question, you saw there is not given like two materials, only one material. In this question, they are given clearly A material and B material. So there are two materials. Whenever there's two or more materials, you have the concept of mix variances. So 60% of metal A, this is the standard details they are given for standard. 60% of metal A at rupees 40 per kg, standard price. 40% of material B at 60 per kg. A standard loss of 10% of input is expected in production. So loss of 10%. If you remember here, I would have said, where is that? Whenever loss percentage is given, you have to use this formula: actual output into input by output, actual output into input by output. So they are just given loss percentage. So just be happy when they are given loss percentage. You can easily calculate the SQ. There's no like kind of thing you put how much is for one quantity, how much is for the, how much is for 10 and all. Directly you can apply that formula and calculate the standard quantity. So 10% include. So the cost record for the month show the following. So this is the actuals. 110 kg of metal A at cost of 49,500. 900 kg of metal B at cost of 50,400. You can see here, this is cost per kg. This is my overall cost. So AQ is overall cost. In the table, you will be taking only the cost per kg, rupees per unit only. So what I will do, I will convert this AQ into per unit. So they are given the overall value. You have to calculate the value per unit. This is the quantity consumed. So actual quantity 1,100 or 900. There is no opening and closing stock given, so I'll take that value as the consumption value. Then actual production for the month is how much? 1,820 kg of good product. So this is my output. My output is 1,820. Calculate the material variances. See, even if you don't understand the full question, just we'll go step by step. The first step is to fill the table. Now, what will the table come? As I said, just go one by one. First, complete the SP part, then go by the AP part. SP, go one by one. So SP into SQ. First, complete the table. SP into SQ. Second, what is that? SP into RSQ. SP into RSQ. Next one, SP into AQ. SP into AQ. And the last one is AP into AQ. AP is always joined to the last one. AP into AQ. Second part is what all data is available in the question. Complete it. Fill it. So what all data is available in the question? Directly it is given. So there are two materials, material A and material B. What is my standard price of material A? Is, you can see the standard composition is given in this first box. 40, 60, 40, 60. Just copy and standard price 40, 60, 40, 60, 40, 40 of A, 60 of B. And next one, what is that given in the question? Actual quantity of A and B is given 1,100, 900. Given in the question 1,100, Not actual price, actual quantity. Actual price we will have to find 1100, 900, 1100, 900. Now what you have to find actual price, you have to find working notes. Actual price of A. What is my actual price? This is price per unit. The overall cost is 49,500. Units is 1,100 kgs. So if I divide it, divided by this, 45 rupees per kg. Rupees per kg. Similarly, AP of B is 50,400 divided by 900. 56 rupees per kg. AP is 45, 56. Now let's go to SQ. Standard quantity, it comes just right fully. Standard quantity for actual output or actual output into input by output. Whenever the last percentage is given, just go by this formula. So what is my actual output? Actual output is 1820. So 1820, 820 into what is my actual input? So when the loss is 100%, so 10%, so the input will take it as 100. So the output is 90%. So the input is 100%, loss 10%. So the output is 90%. So the input is 100. We'll take it as 100. So the output is 90. If you solve it, you'll get 1820 into 100 divided by 90. You get 20.22.222. Just have like 2 decimals. So this is overall standard quantity. So what is my standard mix? 60-40. Out of this, 60% is going to A. So A is how much percentage? 60%. Given the question is here, 60%. I just separate it. Just for it, I'll put like a just have it. A 60%, B is 40%. So this I split it. In exam also you can show like a split like this. In Excel I can't able to do like this. Just add a split. A 60, B 40. So this into 60% and this into 40%. 2 decimal. Make sure if the sum comes coordinates to 22.22. So I just put the value at 12, 13.33, 808.89. Now we'll go to RSQ. What is RSQ? Write the definition. Total AQ in SQ ratio. What is my total AQ? Total AQ. AQ is 1100 plus 900. 1100 plus 900 plus 900. 2000. Similarly, this total AQ in what ratio? SQ ratio. What is the SQ ratio? We already see in the question. SQ split is 60-40. 60-40. The same split you are going to follow. 60-40. So 2000 into 60%. 2000 into 40%. 1200 and 800. 1200 and 800. That's all. We have completed everything. So what we did, we just put the table, then what are the data is available in the question, we just put it in the plotted in the table, then we found out the AP, then we found out SQ, then RSQ. So just complete this table, close this table. closing this table. Okay, I just did the multiplication of these two individually and added it. Now let's go to the formulas. Material cost variance. Material cost variance. Cost variance formula is SP into SQ minus AP into AQ. This box. So full box. Price and usage together. So SP into SQ minus AP into AQ. Students, if anyone did not understand the graph and how to derive the formula, just let me know now itself. Because when you don't understand now, and the subsequent graph like labor, overhead, profit, sales, everything is like same logic only you are going to follow. So you should be strong with this graph. SP into SQ minus AP into AQ. SP into SQ is here. I just directly put it a minus AP into AQ is here. So I get 2833.4 negative since the formula it is coming here. In sum, you should not put it negative. You should put instead of negative, what you should put? You should put adverse. Next, material price variance. Formula for price variance is this box. SP into AQ minus AP into AQ. Correct, right? SP into AQ minus AP into AQ. SP into AQ minus AP into AQ. SP into AQ minus AP into similarly negative. Adverse. Then material usage variance. Material usage variance. Okay. SP into SQ minus SP into AQ. This box. SP into SQ minus SP into AQ. 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 This also adverse. Now material yield variance. Material yield variance, or also what I said other name for this, it is material sub-usage variance. Just tell the formula for material yield variance now. Just put it in the chat. Let me see. SP into SQ minus correct. So SP into SQ minus SP into RSQ. SP into SQ minus SP into RSQ. So SP into SQ minus SP into RSQ. This is favorable for you. Then material mix variance formula. Tell the material mix variance from this graph. Material mix variance. One second. Yeah, I'll do it last. Okay. SP into RSQ minus SP into AQ. Others can just try. Material variance. SP into RSQ minus SP into AQ. So this, I'll explain this graph again. So you are going to put standard in y-axis SP and AQ, actuals in x-axis SQ and AQ. First standard, next is actual. Since there's multiple material, there's a possibility of mixed variance. So you are just putting a line in the usage variance center, and this is called as RSQ. So this box between a standard and actual is called as price variance, and this box between quantity and the actuals, quantity, standard quantity and actual quantity, the quantity difference, this is called as usage variance. So usage variance, we are further split into yield and mixed variance. We're just going to plot the center line. It's called as RSQ. We're going to split it into yield variance and mixed variance. The yield variance is the actual efficiency, the development or efficiency done in the shop floor. And mix is due to the variance occurring due to the mix. What is it that? Between the standard mix and the actual mix, the composition of the input mix. So this formula is SP into RSQ minus SP into AQ. 2000 adverse. Okay. So now how you will read these results? So the overall material cost variance is negative, of which price is all negative 1900. So you have to check with purchase department why the actual price is higher than the standard price. So because of that, we are getting an adverse variance of 1900. And then usage variance, the production department, you see by this 933.4, the usage variance is adverse. But if you go in deep dive of this usage variance breakup, you see the yield actually what is done by the production department is favorable. So then they showed some efficiency, 1066 favorable. But there is a change in mix. There's a actual mix, standard mix is 60-40, but the actual mix will be something different. Because of the change in mix, we are getting an adverse variance. Then we have to check why the mix is changed. Efficiency is improved, but there's some changes in the mix. If they already followed the standard mix itself, you'll get here 0. But there is changes some mix. We have to check why the mix is changed. Overall production department then good. Why the mix is changed, we have to analyze it. Purchase department, you have to tell why the standard actual price is higher than the standard, which material cost it, and why it happened. So kind of analysis we have to do with this results. Okay. Any questions? Just unmute yourself and let me know.
Sir, RSQ calculation.
RSQ, I will explain. Okay. So what is meant by RSQ? RSQ is total AQ in SQ ratio. You're understanding the definition, right? The total AQ in SQ ratio. So you have to learn this text correctly. Just don't confuse. The word is called as RSQ, then don't put total AQ. It is total AQ in SQ ratio. So what I did, total AQ, you can see what is my actual quantity, which I found given the question. You see in the table, actual quantity 1100 and 900, correct? 1100 and 900. I put the sum. See this definition, total AQ. First I put the total AQ, 1100 plus 900. It gives me 2000. Can you understand this? Now what I'm going to do, this total AQ, I'm going to split into SQ ratio. What is my SQ ratio? Standard mix ratio. What is my standard mix in the ratio in this question? See the standard data is given here, 60-40, correct? 60-40. So I just split this 2000 into 60% for A and 40% of B. This number only I put it here, 1200 and 800. Okay, have you understood? Have you understood?
1100, 900 every actually work, sir.
That is total AQ. You can see here, right? Total AQ is given here. The AQ,
Okay.
actual quantity, right? See this table, actual quantity, where you took actual quantity. I took it in the question, right? This is the actual quantity. Standard actual quantity. This is the number given. I'll read this
based
again.
on the proportion of 60%, 40%, we will revise it as
Yes,
revised standard quantity.
Revised standard, correct. This actual quantity, this is something based on actual split. 1100, 900 is based on actual split, but we have to find the actual quantity standard split. What is the we are going to find?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay. This AQ I just took it from the question. Simple. That for the AQ, I'm going to find what is the split for standard mix. And what is the actual split, you shall tell 1100. Then you ask the question, I'm just going in one step ahead, 100 and 900. This is my if my actual quantity is 2000, This is my actual quantity in 2000. Actual split is what they are going to follow, 1100, 900, correct? 45. So this is the actual percentage which the company followed, 55-60. But if we followed 60-40 means what should be when 1200 of A should be consumed and 800 of B should be consumed. But what the company has consumed, 1100 and 900. Because of this mix, we are seeing a variance that is favorable or adverse. We are calculating it. Got it?
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. We'll go to next one. Material cost variance, last sum, third final sum which I have for this workshop. Third sum. Okay, I'll read the question. The standard material input required for 1000 kgs of finished product are given below. So this first table is for standard. Metal A 450, metal B 400, C is 250 kg. Standard rate they are given 20, 40, 60. So 1100. Standard loss 100 units kgs and standard output is 1000. So for this 1000 kgs, this is the breakup. A, B, C. If I add this 1100, then loss is 100. Output is 1000 kgs. Standard output. And if you remember this, I said, right, a formula, it will be used only if the last percentage is given. Yeah, the last value is given. But either you can able to find, I'll just tell you. Actual production for the period is 40,000 kgs. So this is my actual output. For 1000 kg, the standard data is given. This data I should convert to 40,000 kgs. Of the finished product for which the acquired actual quantities of metal used and the prices are as under. This is my actuals. Actual quantity for ABC 20,000, 17, 19. Actual rate is 19, 42, 65. Now let's begin with the computation table, first one. So it's clearly seen we have three materials, so there's a possibility of mixed variance. So the graph table which I follow is this table. I'll just put again the graph for your reference. We'll again solve this problem as a new problem. So how we'll go? First one, SP into SQ, SP into SQ. SP into SQ, SP into RSQ, SP into AQ, and last one is AP into AQ, AP into AQ. Now next, what you are going to do? Three materials you have, A, B, and C. Whatever data is available in the question, just fill the table first. Standard price 20, 40, 60 is given. Standard price 20, 40, 60. 60. Whatever SP is there, I'm just filling with the table. Then actual rate 19, 42, 65 given in the question. So 19, 42, 65. Next, actual quantity is also directly given in the question. 20,000, 17,000, 9,000. 17,000, 9,000. 30,000, 17,000, 9,000. Now we have to find the standard quantity and revise the standard quantity. Let's go one by one. First, standard quantity. Standard quantity for actual output or actual production, both are same. So now are you going to find? Simple. Same standard quantity of A. Now you see the basic definition. As I said, this table is for 1000 kgs. Now I require for 40,000 kgs. So this 450 quantity of input is used for how much kg of output? For 1000 kgs of output. But my output is 40,000 kgs. So how we will do? This 450 is for how much kgs? 1000 kgs. I require output for how much kgs? 40,000. Let me explain again. 1 minute. So this 450 kgs is for 1000 kgs output. So for 40,000, what is my input required? So 450 is for 1000. Then for 40,000 kgs of output, how much is required? 18,000 kgs is required. Got it? Similarly, SQ for B, 400 kgs is for 1000 units. Then 40,000, how much? Same formula, instead of 450, I put 400. SQ for C, how much is the quantity? 250. 250 is for 1000. Then for 40,000, how much? These all are in kgs. Standard quantity, actual quantities are kgs. I'll put it here. 18,000, 16,000, 10,000. Any doubts in the standard cost quantity calculation? If any doubt, just unmute yourself now and let me know. Any doubt in the standard quantity calculation? As you can see, this 450 is for 1000. You can see for 1000 kgs for finished good, this is my standard. But my actual finished goods is not 1000 kgs. Or if the actual finished goods is 1000 kg, then you will take directly this 450, 400, 250. But my actual finished goods is how much? 40,000. So what I do? I expand this 450 for 1000 quantities into 450. Sorry, this 450 for 1000 kgs. Then for 40,000, how much is my kgs will be my input. So I'm doing a pro rata upliftment. So 450 is for 1000. Then for 40,000 kg, how much is my input? So this is the calculation which I do. So you would have studied right in college also. In 450 is for same calculation only which I'm going to do. I'm doing 450 is for 1000. Then 40,000. What is my input? So this is my input. This is my output. This is the calculation which I am doing here. This 450 input is for 1000 kg output. Then for 40,000 output, what is my input? This is what I did. 40,000 into 450 divided by 1000. If you come down, that's what I did. For 40,000 into 450 divided by 1000. Same logic only. Okay. If you can't understand this method, you can just go by the basics, which we used to follow right in our college days. For this 450 is for 1000. Then for 40,000, what is my input? Both are like the same formulas only. Now last one, RSQ. So the definition for RSQ is total AQ in SQ ratio. Total AQ, where you get total AQ? You can see from this table, actual quantity for 20,000, 17,000, 9,000. So I just added 20,000 plus 17,000 plus 9,000, total AQ. If I sum it up, I'll get 46,000. What is my SQ ratio? SQ ratio is, I already calculated my SQ here, right? 18,000, 16,000, 10,000. The SQ ratio is 18,000 is to 10,000 is to 10,000. 18 is to 16 is to 10. Or if it's further divided by 2 table, 9 is to 8 is to 5. If I solve this, I just put it here. If I into A, B, C, how much I get? 46,000 divided by the sum of these three. Plus 5, 22. So 46,000 divided by 22 into 9. Hope you know this ratios and all, right? So 46,000 divided by this total into 9. 46,000 divided by total into 8 for B. 46,000 divided by this total into 5 for C. 8 into 5. Make sure this total is 46,000. I just put it here, 8818.18, 16, 727.27, 10,454.55. Just solve this table, complete this table.
Oh, sir, is there no normal loss in the question?
Normal loss already we factored inside it, okay? So this 1,000 is including the normal loss. So the input we can consider directly itself. You see a table, the standard loss 100, right? I'm factoring the standard loss and taking this actual output itself. So no need to consider the standard loss itself. So this is just to confuse yourself. No need to take it. If I consider this 1,100 as base and indebtedness, you can take it as loss. You can be able to factor loss also, because now already the loss factor I'm considering and I'm taking this 1,000 kgs for the calculations. So no need to take the standard loss value. Okay. Now I'll give you like 5 minutes time. Everyone calculate and tell the value: material cost variance, material price variance, material usage variance, material yield variance, material mix variance. Just calculate and tell me the value. Put in the chat. Let me see. Here's a table for you. Put the formulas and do it. Just take some 5 minutes. Or let me know who completes it. Hope you are all solving this. Solve all the 5 numbers and just give it as a single message. Solve all the 5 numbers and just give it as a single text so I can check everything. Students, hope you are solving. All the participants, just please try to be interactive and solve this. I got one answer, material cost variance, price, usage. Yes, this is correct. Super. How about others? Please, everyone solve it. I require some answers. Students, by this time you should have completed this. Okay, I will do it. Just check the answers which you are doing. So material cost variance is SP into SQ minus AP into AQ, the overall box. SP into SQ minus AP into AQ. 79,000. Adverse. Price variance is SP into AQ minus AP into AQ. That is also adverse. I'm getting answers now. Okay, let's check it. Metal usage variance is SP this box. SP into SQ minus SP into AQ. SP into SQ minus SP into AQ. This is also adverse. Everything is coming up. Next, meta yield variance is this box. SP into SQ minus SP into RSQ. SP into SQ minus SP into RSQ. This is also negative, adverse. Then the mix variance is SP into RSQ minus SP into AQ. SP into RSQ minus SP into this one is alone favorable. So now how you to check this answer? So if I sum up metal mix variance and metal yield variance, I'll get metal usage variance. This is minus 72,727. This is plus 52,727. If I sum it, I'll get 20,000 negative. So 20,000 adverse. So I got it right. So if I sum material usage variance and metal price variance, I'll get metal cost variance. Now we'll check it. Metal usage variance is minus 20,000. Metal price variance is minus 15,000. If I sum it, I'll get minus 79,000. That is 79,000 cost variance adverse. So you can able to check the numbers by this. Okay, correct. Many students have given correct answers. So by this, we complete material cost variance. Any doubts in material cost? Let me stop the recording. We will move next to labor cost. 1 minute. Let me stop the recording.